Patricia awoke early each morning in Malaga, ready to begin her day at her sewing workshop. Needle and thread were her life, a passion inherited from her grandmother, who had taught her the secrets of dressmaking since she was a little girl. The workshop, though modest, was her sanctuary, a place where she could escape the worries of the outside world and immerse herself in the art of creating beautiful garments. One morning, as she meticulously adjusted a wedding dress, she heard the tinkling of the bell above the door. Looking up, she saw Samuel, a young artist who frequented the cafe next door. Samuel was known for his vibrant paintings and charming personality. Every time he entered the workshop, he brought with him a breath of creativity and joy. "Hello, Patricia," Samuel greeted her with a warm smile. "Would you mind doing me a favor?" Patricia set the dress aside and approached him. "Of course, Samuel. What do you need?" "I have an exhibition this weekend, and I would like to wear a special suit. I want something unique, something that reflects the spirit of my paintings," he explained, showing her a sketch of the suit he had in mind. Patricia studied the sketch with interest. "It's beautiful. I'll do my best to make it perfect." From that day on, Samuel began to visit the workshop more frequently. He would sit near Patricia, watching as her skilled hands brought life to the fabric. Over time, their conversations shifted from trivial matters to sharing dreams and hopes. Samuel would talk about his exhibitions, about how he saw the world through his colors, while Patricia told him stories of her childhood and her grandmother, the woman who had instilled in her a love for sewing. "I've always thought that sewing is an art form," Samuel said one day, as Patricia adjusted a jacket on the mannequin. "Each garment you create has its own story." Patricia smiled, her cheeks flushed. "I've never thought of it that way, but you're right. Each stitch is a part of me." As time went on, their relationship deepened. Samuel began bringing Patricia flowers, daisies he picked himself from the countryside. "Daisies for my Patricia," he would say with a mischievous grin. "You are as beautiful as these flowers." Patricia, though shy, began to open up to Samuel more. His visits to the workshop became the highlight of her day. Soon they started going out together, first to nearby cafes and then to art exhibitions. Samuel always found ways to make Patricia feel special. One night, while walking along the harbor, Samuel stopped and took Patricia's hand. "Patricia, I've been wanting to tell you this for a while. You make me very happy. Every day with you is a gift." Patricia felt her heart race. "You make me very happy too, Samuel." Life seemed perfect. Patricia continued working in her workshop, creating wonderful garments, while Samuel continued to paint and prepare for his next exhibition. It seemed that nothing could disturb their happiness. However, life had other plans. One day, Patricia began to feel dizzy and fatigued. At first, she thought it was stress from work, but when the symptoms persisted, she decided to see a doctor. The news left her stunned. She was pregnant, and not only that, she was expecting twins. With a heart full of mixed emotions, Patricia decided she had to tell Samuel immediately. That night, she prepared a special dinner in her small apartment. Samuel arrived with his usual smile, unaware of what was to come. Patricia arranged the dinner carefully, her hands trembling slightly as she placed the plates on the table. The aroma of the food filled the small apartment, but her mind was far away, focused on the words she needed to say to Samuel. When he arrived, his usual smile lit up the room, but Patricia couldn't help but feel a pang of fear in her heart. "Hello, Samuel," she said, trying to keep her voice steady. "Hello, my love. Samuel replied, leaning in to kiss her cheek. "Everything smells delicious. What are we celebrating?" Patricia swallowed hard, her hands clasped nervously. "Samuel, I need to talk to you about something very important." He frowned slightly, taking a seat at the table. "What is it, Patricia? You're worrying me." Taking a deep breath, Patricia decided to blurt out the truth. "I'm pregnant, Samuel, and it's twins." The silence that followed was deafening. Samuel's smile faded, replaced by an expression of shock and bewilderment. His eyes met Patricia's, searching for answers that she couldn't yet give. "Pregnant?" he repeated, his voice barely a whisper. "Twins?" Patricia nodded, feeling her heart break a little more with each passing second of silence. "Yes, they're our children, Samuel. We need to talk about our future, about what this means for us." Samuel stood up from the table, pacing the small space. "This is unexpected. I don't know if I'm ready to be a father, let alone to two babies." Patricia felt a wave of despair wash over her. "Samuel, I thought we were in this together, that we could face anything." "It's just, I'm not sure," he said, finally stopping and looking at her with an expression of defeat. "I don't know if I can handle this responsibility right now. Maybe you should consider other options." Samuel's words hit Patricia like a punch to the stomach. "Other options? Are you suggesting I abort our children?" Samuel didn't answer, but the silence was enough for Patricia. She felt her whole world crumble in that instant. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she turned away to prevent him from seeing them. "I can't believe you're saying this," she murmured, her voice breaking. "I thought you loved me." "I do, Patricia, but this is too much. I need time to think." And with that, Samuel was gone, leaving Patricia alone in her small apartment, surrounded by the now cooling dinner. She sank into a chair, the weight of loneliness and betrayal crushing her. Tears fell freely, and for a moment she thought she couldn't go on. But the life growing inside her reminded her that she had to be strong. Not just for her, but for the twins who depended on her. Patricia knew she had a decision to make, and she decided she couldn't rely on Samuel. She had to move forward on her own. The following days were a whirlwind of emotions. Patricia tried to focus on her work, using sewing as an escape from her pain. But the nausea and fatigue of pregnancy made things difficult, and she soon found herself struggling to keep up. One day, while she was at the workshop, Anna, her best friend, noticed that something was wrong. "Patricia, you look exhausted. What's going on?" Patricia, who had been bottling up her feelings, finally broke down and told Anna everything. She told her about the pregnancy, Samuel's reaction, and her fear of facing everything alone. Anna hugged her tightly. "You're not alone, Patricia. I'm here for you, and I always will be. We'll get through this together." With Anna's support, Patricia began to find strength she didn't know she possessed. Anna helped her at the workshop, allowing her to rest when she needed it, and constantly reminded her that she was capable of handling any challenge. Weeks turned into months, and though the work was tiring, Patricia remained steadfast. Every stitch she sewed was a step towards building a better future for her children. Anna was by her side, encouraging and assisting her every step of the way. One day, while resting in the workshop, Patricia felt a strong kick inside her belly. She placed her hand on her stomach and smiled, feeling a deep connection with the twins. She knew she was doing the right thing, that she was building a future for them, even if she had to do it alone. "We're going to be okay," she murmured, caressing her belly. "Everything is going to be all right." And with that determination, Patricia continued on, knowing that even though the path was difficult, she was filled with enough love and strength to face whatever came her way. Patricia continued with her daily routine at the sewing workshop, but her mind often drifted towards thoughts of the twins growing inside of her. One day, while at a fabric store searching for materials for her next project, she decided to take a detour through the park, enjoying the fresh air and the city's murmur. As she neared the park's exit, Patricia noticed a young, thin, and visibly injured man stumbling near the sidewalk. Her immediate instinct was to help him. She approached him quickly, concerned by his state. "Are you all right?" she asked gently, noticing the cuts and bruises on his face. The man looked up, his eyes filled with pain and fear. "I need help," he mumbled weakly. "My name is David." Patricia didn't hesitate for a moment. "I'll take you to the hospital," she said, offering him support so he could walk. On the way to the hospital, David fainted several times, his weakness evident. Patricia hurried along, her heart pounding as she asked for help from the doctors in the emergency room. "I found him in the park," she explained to a nurse. "He's badly hurt and needs immediate attention." As the doctors took David away on a stretcher, Patricia remained in the waiting room, her worry growing with each passing minute. After what seemed like an eternity, a young and kind doctor approached her. "I'm Lucia," she introduced herself. "I was on duty when you brought David in. He has serious injuries, and it appears he's been subjected to violence for a long time." Patricia felt a knot in her stomach. "Will he be all right?" "Physically, he'll recover with time," Lucia answered. "But he seems to be deeply traumatized. Do you know anything about him?" "No, I just found him and felt I had to help him," said Patricia, her concern evident. Lucia nodded, looking around before leaning towards Patricia and whispering, "There's something else. David has been here before, and there's always a man who comes looking for him, claiming to be his father. But I have my suspicions about his intentions. This man, Lucas, seems dangerous." At that moment, Patricia saw an imposing man entering the hospital. His presence was intimidating, and his gaze, cold and calculating, swept across the waiting room until it landed on Patricia and Lucia. "That's him," Lucia whispered, tensing. "That's Lucas." Lucas approached the reception desk, demanding to see David. The nurse tried to calm him down, explaining that doctors were attending to his son. Patricia felt a shiver run down her spine as Lucas cast a menacing look towards everyone in the room. "I won't allow anyone to interfere," he declared in a firm voice, before adding in a lower tone, "And if anyone tries to help him escape, they'll regret it." Patricia and Lucia exchanged a worried look. They knew they had to do something, but the risk was high. Patricia, however, couldn't abandon David. She decided to act. "Lucia, we need to get David out of here," Patricia whispered. "We can't leave him with that man." Lucia nodded, her determination matching Patricia's. "Agreed. I have a plan, but it will be dangerous." Patricia was prepared to face anything for David. That night, while Lucas seemed to be gone, Patricia and Lucia snuck into David's room. They found him conscious, but weak. "David, we're getting you out of here," Patricia said gently. "You're not safe with Lucas." David, though weak, nodded gratefully. Carefully, Lucia disconnected non-essential medical equipment and helped David to his feet. They covered his wounds as best they could to avoid attracting attention and made their way towards the hospital's back exit. Patricia's heart pounded as they guided David towards her car. Lucia quickly said her goodbyes, wishing them luck and reminding them to be careful. With David safe in the back seat, Patricia drove cautiously towards her apartment. She knew Lucas might be watching, but there was no other option. David needed a safe place to recover, and she was determined to provide it. Upon reaching her apartment, Patricia helped David inside and settled him on the couch. "You'll be safe here," she assured him, though deep down she knew the threat of Lucas still loomed over them. David sat on the couch, his body still weak but his mind clearer than ever. Lucas's shadow still haunted him, but the temporary safety of Patricia's apartment gave him a much-needed respite to reflect on his situation. Patricia, meanwhile, moved around the apartment, preparing a cup of hot tea for David. "Thank you, Patricia," said David, his voice hoarse as he took the cup. "I don't know how I can ever repay you for all of this." "You don't need to thank me," she replied, taking a seat next to him. "I just want you to be safe and recover. But tell me, David, who is Lucas really, and why is he doing this to you?" David sighed, the pain in his face more emotional than physical. "Lucas is not my father," he began. "My real parents died in an accident years ago. Lucas was an old family friend who offered to be my legal guardian. But it was all a facade." Patricia listened intently, her eyes filled with concern and empathy. "I discovered that Lucas planned the accident that killed my parents to get his hands on their fortune," David continued, his voice trembling with contained rage. "Since then, he's kept me under his control, using violence and threats to force me to transfer all assets to him. When I refused, he started beating me and isolating me even further." Patricia felt a wave of indignation wash over her. "I can't believe someone could be capable of such evil," she said, her voice firm. "We need to do something to stop him, David. We can't let him keep controlling you like this." David nodded slowly. "I know you're right, but I don't know where to begin. Lucas has connections and resources. It won't be easy to face him." "We'll need help," Patricia said, her mind already working on a plan. "We could start by going to the police. We need to tell them everything you know and provide any evidence we have." David hesitated for a moment, then nodded. "All right. I don't have much, but I kept some documents that could incriminate Lucas. They're hidden in a safe place." The next day, Patricia and David headed to the police station. As they walked, Patricia felt a mixture of fear and determination. She knew that confronting Lucas would be dangerous, but she also knew it was the right thing to do. At the station, they were greeted by a seasoned detective named Hernandez. "How can I help you?" he asked, regarding them with a questioning look. David took a deep breath. "We need to report a man named Lucas," he began. "He's committed several crimes, including the murder of my parents and violence against me." Hernandez frowned, but listened intently as David recounted his story. "This is very serious," he finally said. "We will need evidence to initiate a formal investigation. Do you have anything to support your claims?" David pulled out a folder of documents he'd brought with him. "I have some papers here that could help. Lucas has been careful, but he's made mistakes." Hernandez took the folder and reviewed it carefully. "This is a good start," he said. "We'll start an investigation, but you should know that facing someone like Lucas won't be easy. You will need protection." Patricia and David nodded, knowing that the road ahead would be difficult but necessary. While the police began their investigation, Patricia and David remained cautious. Patricia decided it was best for David to stay at her apartment, at least until they had more information about Lucas's movements. A few days later, they received a call from Hernandez. "We've found additional evidence that corroborates your story, David. We've also discovered that Lucas has a criminal record for other offenses. We're going to proceed with his arrest, but we need your testimony." David was ready to face Lucas, but the thought of confronting him in person filled him with anxiety. "Patricia, I don't know if I can do this," he confessed. Patricia took his hand gently. "You won't be alone, David. I'll be with you every step of the way. Together, we can do this." The day of the confrontation arrived. Lucas was summoned to the police station for questioning. Patricia and David waited nervously in an adjacent room, surrounded by officers who ensured their protection. When Lucas arrived, his expression was one of pure arrogance. "What's all this about?" he demanded, looking at Hernandez with disdain. "Mr. Lucas, you are here to answer to several serious accusations," Hernandez said calmly. "Among them, the murder of David's parents and physical abuse." Lucas let out a mocking laugh. "David? That ungrateful wretch? This is all a farce." Hernandez remained unfazed. "We have enough evidence to proceed, and David is here to testify against you." The mention of David made Lucas tense, his expression hardening. "Where is that traitor?" he roared. At that moment, Patricia and David entered the room. Lucas glared at them with hatred, but David, bolstered by Patricia's reassuring presence, stood firm. "You will face justice, Lucas," David said with determination. "You won't be able to hurt anyone else." The confrontation was intense, but in the end, Lucas was handcuffed and taken to a cell while the investigation continued. David felt an overwhelming sense of relief, knowing that the man who had destroyed his life would finally face the consequences of his actions. Patricia hugged him tightly. "We did it," she whispered. "Now you can start to rebuild your life." David nodded, his gratitude towards Patricia immeasurable. "I couldn't have done it without you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "Thank you, Patricia." Day by day, David regained his strength. His frail and weak appearance began to disappear, replaced by a more robust and lively figure. Patricia cared for him with dedication, preparing nutritious meals and making sure he got enough rest. David, in turn, found invaluable emotional support in Patricia. As time passed, the relationship between Patricia and David deepened. What began as a connection based on need and compassion slowly transformed into something more. They shared long conversations about their lives, dreams, and fears. Patricia told him about her grandmother and how she had learned the art of sewing, while David shared memories of his parents and his aspirations before everything fell apart. One afternoon, as they were walking together through a nearby park, David gently took Patricia's hand. "I don't know what I would have done without you," he said, looking into her eyes sincerely. "You gave me a second chance at life." Patricia smiled, squeezing his hand affectionately. "You've given me strength too. Knowing that I could help you gives me purpose, especially now that I'm expecting my twins." David nodded, his eyes full of determination. "I want to be a part of your life, Patricia. I want to help you with the babies and be there for you, just like you have been there for me." Time flew by, and the day arrived when Patricia felt the first contractions. With Anna's help, she was rushed to the hospital, where she gave birth to 2 beautiful babies, a boy and a girl. David was by her side throughout the entire process, his presence bringing calm and reassurance to Patricia. When they held their babies in their arms for the first time, they both felt a mixture of joy and responsibility. David, with tears in his eyes, looked at Patricia. "I want to be the godfather of these little ones," he said, his voice trembling slightly. "I want to protect them and care for them as if they were my own." Patricia, deeply moved, nodded. "I'd love for you to be their godfather, David. I know you'll be a wonderful influence in their lives." With the twins at home, Patricia and David's life was filled with new routines and challenges. David took on a protective and supportive role, while Patricia continued to work in her sewing workshop, now with Anna's additional help. The days were long and tiring, but filled with love and fulfillment. One day, while Patricia was sewing a dress, David entered the workshop with a serious but determined expression. "I've been thinking," he began. "I want to take back control of my father's company. It's time to face the past and build a secure future for us." Patricia put down her work and approached him. "I'll be with you every step of the way," she said firmly. "Together, we can overcome anything." David began the arduous process of rebuilding his father's company. With the help of lawyers and loyal former employees, he managed to regain control and restore the business's integrity. Meanwhile, Patricia continued working hard in her workshop, becoming a respected figure in the community for her talent and dedication. Life began to stabilize. Patricia and David found comfort in their daily routine and the love they shared for the twins. Although challenges didn't disappear entirely, their love and commitment to each other gave them the strength to face them together. One evening, while watching the twins sleep, David took Patricia's hand and looked at her with an intensity that made her tremble. "I love you, Patricia," he said in a deep voice. "I want to spend the rest of my life with you and our children. Will you marry me?" Patricia felt her heart skip a beat. Tears welled up in her eyes as she nodded. "Yes, David, I'll marry you." The wedding was a simple affair but filled with love and joy. Surrounded by friends and family, Patricia and David promised each other eternal love. Together, they began a new stage in their lives, facing the future with hope and determination. As time went on, David's company prospered, and Patricia's sewing workshop grew into a successful business. The twins grew up in an environment filled with love and support, surrounded by the strength and courage of their parents. Patricia's sewing workshop was filled with light and laughter as she worked on her latest commission. Raphael and Juan played in a corner, their giggles filling the air with infectious joy. David was in the office, reviewing some company documents, but always keeping an eye on his family. Everything seemed in harmony, but fate had a surprise in store. One afternoon, Patricia received an invitation to an art exhibition in the center of Malaga. She decided it would be a good opportunity to relax and enjoy some culture, so she convinced David to accompany her along with the children. The twins were excited to see the paintings and sculptures, and the family left the house with high expectations. Upon arriving at the gallery, Patricia felt a mixture of nervousness and excitement. The atmosphere was elegant, with dim lights and soft music playing in the background. Attendees strolled among the artworks, conversing in hushed tones. As Patricia admired an abstract painting, a familiar voice made her stop dead in her tracks. "Patricia, is that you?" the voice said. Patricia turned and found herself face to face with Samuel, her former boyfriend. Her heart skipped a beat. Samuel looked different, more tired and less self-assured. He was now working as an employee at the gallery without his former sparkle. "Samuel," Patricia replied, maintaining her composure. "I didn't expect to see you here." Samuel looked at her with a mixture of surprise and nostalgia. "You look different too. You've changed." Before Patricia could reply, Raphael and Juan came running up to her, followed closely by David. Samuel's eyes widened upon seeing the children, and a look of recognition crossed his face. "Are these your children?" he asked, his voice trembling slightly. David, sensing the discomfort of the situation, immediately intervened. "Yes, they are our children," he said firmly. "Raphael and Juan." Samuel looked at Patricia, seeking answers. "Patricia, are they my children?" Patricia held Samuel's gaze, feeling the need to set the record straight once and for all. "No, Samuel, you missed your chance a long time ago. These are David's children, and he is their father in every way that matters." Samuel lowered his gaze, clearly affected. "I'm sorry," he murmured. "I made a lot of mistakes. I didn't know what I was losing until it was too late." Patricia felt a mixture of compassion and resolve. "We all make mistakes, Samuel, but I have a family and a life that I love now. I don't need anything from you." David placed a comforting hand on Patricia's shoulder. "Come on, love. We have a lot to see in this exhibition," he said gently. The family walked away from Samuel, who watched them with an expression of sadness and regret. Patricia felt a weight lift from her shoulders. She had closed a painful chapter of her life, and although she couldn't change the past, she felt free to move forward without burdens. The exhibition continued, and Patricia found herself enjoying the artworks with a newfound sense of peace. The twins were delighted with the sculptures and paintings, and David looked at her with pride and love. As they were leaving the gallery, Patricia took David's hand and smiled. "Thank you for always being by my side," she said. David returned her smile and kissed her softly on the forehead. "I will always be here for you and our children. We are a family." Patricia, David, Raphael, and Juan walked together through the illuminated streets of Malaga, knowing that no matter what the future held, they would face it together. The night was cool, and the city lights reflected in the twins' eyes, full of curiosity and wonder. Back home, the twins fell asleep in the car, and Patricia looked at David, feeling a deep gratitude for the man who had been with her through the most difficult times. Upon arriving, they carried the children to their beds, and then sat together on the couch, enjoying the tranquility of their home. Patricia rested her head on David's shoulder. "Today was an important day," she said softly. "I closed a door to the past that I thought I could never close." David hugged her tenderly. "You did great, Patricia. Now we can move forward without anything holding us back." A feeling of closure and peace filled Patricia's heart. She knew they had overcome many trials together, and many more would come. But with David by her side and their children growing up happy, she felt they could face anything. Life in Malaga continued peacefully for Patricia and David. Their days were filled with love and laughter, with Raphael and Juan growing up quickly. However, Patricia felt there was something more she could do, a new challenge calling her. As she worked in her sewing workshop, an idea began to take shape in her mind. One evening, after putting the twins to bed, Patricia decided to talk to David about her plan. They sat together on the couch, the warm light of the living room creating an intimate atmosphere. "David, I've been thinking about something," Patricia began, taking her husband's hand. "I want to do more with my life, not just for me, but for other women too." David looked at her curiously. "What do you mean, Patricia?" "I want to open a chain of sewing workshops," she explained. "I want to create opportunities for women who love this craft but haven't had the chance to learn or work in a safe and supportive environment." David smiled, his unconditional support shining in his eyes. "That sounds like a wonderful idea. How are you thinking of starting?" Patricia sighed, relieved by David's positive reaction. "First, I need to find a suitable location and hire some experienced women to help me teach. Then, we can expand to other areas of Malaga and hopefully beyond. I'll be by your side every step of the way, David said, squeezing her hand. You have my full support. With David's support, Patricia began working on her project. She found a suitable location in the city center and started recruiting women with sewing experience. Among them was Anna, her trusted friend, who was also enthusiastic about the idea of helping other women find their passion. The first sewing workshop opened its doors with great success. Women of different ages and backgrounds came together, learning and sharing their skills in an environment of camaraderie and mutual support. Patricia felt fulfilled, seeing her dream become a reality and how her initiative was positively impacting the lives of so many people. David also played a crucial role in the project's success. He used his management experience to help Patricia run the workshop and ensure everything ran smoothly. Additionally, he was always willing to take care of the twins whenever Patricia needed to focus on her work. The success of the first workshop inspired Patricia to expand. Soon she opened more workshops in different parts of Malaga, creating a network of support for women passionate about sewing. Each new workshop was a step closer to realizing her dream of empowering women and offering them a place where they could grow and develop professionally. Over time, Patricia's workshops became a benchmark in the community. Women from all over the city flocked to her classes, and many managed to start their own sewing businesses thanks to the skills and knowledge acquired at the workshops. Patricia became recognized as a successful businesswoman and an advocate for women's empowerment. She received several awards for her work and was invited to speak at conferences and events, sharing her story and motivating other women to follow their dreams. At one such conference, Patricia addressed an audience of young female entrepreneurs. "The road is not always easy," she said, her voice filled with passion. "But with determination and the support of those who believe in us, we can achieve great things. Don't be afraid to dream big and work hard to reach your goals." Life at home also blossomed. Rafael and Juan grew up surrounded by love and support. David and Patricia taught them the value of hard work, the importance of family, and the need to help others. The twins grew into curious and creative children, always seeking to learn and explore the world around them. One afternoon, as they were all together at the park, Patricia watched her children play and felt a deep gratitude for the life they had built. "Look how happy they are," she said to David, who was sitting next to her. "Yes, and it's all thanks to you," replied David, kissing her cheek. "Your vision and determination have created something beautiful, both in our family and in the community." Patricia smiled, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. "I couldn't have done it without you," she said. "We're a team, and together we've built this life." David looked at her tenderly. "And we will continue to build, always together." And so, Patricia and David continued to work side by side, raising their children and growing their network of workshops. Patricia's story became a testament to resilience, love, and commitment. She proved that, with the right support and the determination to move forward, it is possible to overcome any obstacle and achieve greatness. With every new workshop she opened and every woman she helped, Patricia knew she was making a difference. Her legacy would not only be the success of her business, but also the lives she had touched and the opportunities she had created for so many women. Patricia and David continued to support each other in every aspect of their lives. Each morning, David helped get the twins ready for school, while Patricia went to the workshop to start her day. Their days were filled with hard work and moments of shared joy. The relationship between Patricia and David grew stronger with each challenge they overcame. Their love and commitment were evident to all who knew them. They were a team in every sense of the word, supporting and encouraging each other every step of the way. The twins, Rafael and Juan, were also a constant source of joy and pride. They were growing up fast, showing interest in their parents' activities. Rafael helped his mother in the workshop, while Juan accompanied his father to the office, learning about business management. One evening, as they were having dinner as a family, Patricia looked around, taking in the smiling faces of David and the children. She felt a deep sense of peace and contentment. They had overcome many adversities, and together they had built a full and happy life. "I'm so proud of all of us," Patricia said, breaking the silence. "We've accomplished so much, and I know we can achieve even more." David nodded, his eyes filled with love. "You're right, Patricia. This is just the beginning of all we can do together." The years passed, and Patricia and David continued to grow both in their careers and their family life. They opened more workshops and expanded David's company, always with the same spirit of collaboration and mutual support. Their story of love, hard work, and overcoming adversity became an example to many in the community. The story of Patricia and David is a moving journey of love, resilience, and triumph. Throughout their journey, they faced numerous challenges, from betrayal and grief to the fight for justice and the pursuit of a better future. Patricia's transformation, from a heartbroken and abandoned woman to a successful businesswoman and loving mother, is deeply inspiring. David, with his unwavering support and bravery, becomes a fundamental pillar in Patricia's life. Together, they build a family based on mutual respect, love, and collaboration. Their story proves that despite adversity, it is possible to find happiness and personal and professional fulfillment. The most profound lesson of this narrative is the power of love and determination. Patricia and David teach us that with mutual support and perseverance, even the most difficult obstacles can be overcome. Furthermore, it highlights the importance of believing in oneself and others, and how teamwork and solidarity can transform lives. This story leaves us with a valuable lesson: the ability to reinvent ourselves, the power of community, and the unbreakable strength of true love. If you found the characters' journeys inspiring, please like and comment to share your thoughts. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more uplifting stories that highlight the power of human connection and kindness. Thanks for watching.